back to Growler Model Painting. This is episode number 6 in our Become a Better Hobbyist series. And this episode is focused on how to deal with resin. So we're talking about Forgeworld resin, not the Finecast. We will be doing a separate video on that in the series. But this is focusing on the actual resin from Forgeworld. And I'm just going to go over what you're going to need to prepare this resin for building and painting. So you're going to want to use super glue, not plastic glue, as it is resin. And you're just going to need your normal tools like clippers, knives and files. Extra things that you may need include, you may want to wear some sort of protection from, if you're filing the model, you might want to wear a mask like this just to stop that resin being inhaled, because it can make you feel a bit sick. But if your room is well ventilated, you're quite alright. You don't have to wear a mask. I don't wear one. You might also want to use a bit of green stuff. This is just if there's any gaps in the resin, you might want to just fill them in. But that should be all you need, and we can get on to starting to prep this resin. Okay, so the first step is to remove any flash or any mold lines, anything that shouldn't actually be on the model, as you would with any other model. So some examples, this is flash here, and there's some there. Mold lines, a bit harder to find, but there will be some on there. And we can see loads of little errors up here that we need to get rid of. So we can get rid of these before we actually clean up the model. And we're just going to use a hobby knife, just any sort of knife, and we can go ahead and just, these come out really quite easily. You just cut through them and you can push them straight out of the model. Okay, so now the model's nice and tidy, we're going to go ahead and clean it up. Now to do this, we're going to use some warm water with a little bit of washing up liquid. It can be any washing up liquid, there's no specific type, but make sure the water isn't too hot, because it will start to make the resin pliable if it's hot, which I'll get onto later. But just warm water, and just going to submerge the resin in there for 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. And there's a coating on the resin itself that they use when they're removing it from the cast. And this washing up liquid will just remove that chemical off the surface. Now that it's been submerged in the soapy water for a while, I'm just going to take an old toothbrush and really gently brush over the surface of the weapon. And this should remove any of the chemical that's left on the surface. And we're just going to do this all over until the plastic doesn't feel as oily, because that's how it feels when you first get the model. It can feel a bit oily, there can be kind of a sheen on the surface. By doing this, it'll make it easier to paint, and it will glue together a bit better, because when you're brushing these surfaces, you're actually causing little grooves to be made in the plastic, tiny little ones, and this will make the gluing process a lot easier. Okay, so once you've done that, all you need to do is give it a really thorough rinse of cold water to get all them soap suds off and any of the remaining chemical. And when you've done that, it should have a kind of normal feel to it. It should feel just not as greasy as it did. If it still feels a bit greasy and it's got that sheen, just repeat the process until it feels nice and soft and like a normal model would. And now we can get on to building. So when you're building with resin models, it's important to use super glue because it's the only glue that works. Plastic glue won't. And it's important to dry fit the pieces together before you actually go to glue them, because sometimes the pieces won't fit together perfect. Finally, another really important tip is if the resin's actually bent or it needs reshaping. So say this knife would be a good example. Sometimes it might be a bit bent, but luckily this one's really straight. The way to deal with that is putting in hot water. Now when I say hot, I don't mean boiling. Hot enough so you can put your hand in it without any real burns occurring. So you know, it will soften the plastic up. You leave it in there for about 5 minutes, depending on the size of the model. If it is a really large model, you're going to have to leave it in there a bit longer. And once it's been in there 5 minutes, the part should be a bit more pliable, so you can actually physically change the shape of the model to how you want it. So that can occur with many of the Forgeworld kits. They won't fit together properly. All you have to do is get them in some hot water and leave them in there for 5 minutes and then bend them out. Another way to do it would be with a hairdryer, but you just got to make sure not to heat it up too long, and the hairdryer will make it a bit more pliable, but I would go with the hot water technique. It's a bit quicker. So I hope this video has been of help. This is a twin-linked heavy bolter off a Nurgle Dreadnought that I'm currently putting together. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and we will be having a green stuff episode next episode, that'll cover all the tips of how to use green stuff. So subscribe for that, and please like the video, it really helps a lot. So thanks for watching.